Let's test your baseline intuition about human behavior. True or false? Opposites attract in romantic relationships. Humans use 10% of their brain capacity. And always trust your first instinct on tests. Every single one of those statements is factually incorrect. Large-scale, reproducible research has thoroughly falsified all three. Because we navigate social structures, process emotions, and make daily decisions, we naturally develop personal theories to explain why people do what they do. This creates a disciplinary hazard for psychological science, known as the illusion of automatic expertise. We assume that because we are human, we are naturally experts in human behavior. While raw intuition is useful for quick survival choices, it is highly vulnerable to environmental noise, subjective projection, and confirmation bias, where we selectively notice only the evidence that supports what we already believe. To build a clean, functional foundation for behavioral science, we have to clear the intellectual field. We must abandon comforting cultural folklore and evaluate human cognition through strict empirical testing. Consider the massive, multi-million-dollar industry built around learning styles. The intuitive cultural belief is that if a student is identified as a visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learner, teachers must tailor their materials to match that specific style to multiply academic success. This bar chart compares academic retention rates between students who use a learning style that matches their preference versus those forced to use a mismatched style. 6 comprehensive meta-analyses conducted over the last decade show zero statistical improvement for the matched group. The data shows that if you want to truly encode information, you should study using the exact opposite of your preferred style. Forcing your brain to use an uncomfortable, unfamiliar method stops it from engaging in automatic, shallow reading. It requires deep semantic processing. Working harder to understand the core meaning of the material creates highly stable neural connections. Our intuition also leads us astray when trying to process extreme emotional trauma. Traditional folklore asserts that a child's conscious mind possesses an automated defense mechanism that buries terrified memories deep inside a mental vault to protect their self-esteem. In reality, you cannot consciously choose to forget a trauma. When a person is trapped in a highly terrifying environment, extreme levels of the stress hormone cortisol physically disrupt normal memory consolidation. The limbic system, the brain's autonomic survival alarm, biologically delays the chemical processing of that memory until the individual establishes long-term environmental safety. Relying on narratives that feel emotionally comforting or logically satisfying causes us to completely misunderstand the biological realities of our own minds. This desire for satisfying answers drives the persistent pop culture myth that trained experts can observe physical behavior to instantly unlock hidden thoughts. We see this heavily in the criminal justice trope of the polygraph machine. A polygraph is completely blind to the cognitive act of lying. It merely measures autonomic nervous system arousal, like a spiking heart rate or sudden perspiration. Controlled testing demonstrates that a polygraph operates at an accuracy rate of 46 to 50%, statistically equivalent to a raw coin flip. A calm sociopath can easily pass, while an innocent, anxious person triggers a false positive. Humanity has a long history of inventing false systems to predict human traits. In the 18th and 19th centuries, phrenologists claimed they could map an individual's intelligence and character by physically feeling the bumps and indentations across their skull. Even older systems collapse under basic physical observation. Astrology relies on the belief that human destiny is dictated by star alignments at birth, but the astrological maps used today were drawn over 2,000 years ago. Earth's gradual axial precession has shifted the true alignment of the constellations by roughly 6 months, rendering the traditional charts completely and astronomically incorrect. The critical boundary separating these historical false systems from actual behavioral science is the principle of demarcation. This is the explicit willingness to test assertions against empirical reality and to completely abandon those ideas when they fail. Psychologists are not mind readers attempting to divine absolute truths from your casual speech. They are data scientists who map probabilistic behavioral patterns across massive population datasets. That empirical rigor dismantles one final, overarching cultural myth: the belief that the entire discipline focuses exclusively on treating clinical pathologies and emotional crises. Approximately 52% of registered psychologists do operate as clinical or counseling professionals, but that leaves nearly half of the entire discipline operating outside of clinical pathology. Behavioral science investigates the full continuum of normal human life. Researchers map basic memory architectures, track early language development, design ergonomic airplane cockpits, and engineer corporate leadership strategies. A massive contingent of modern researchers operates within the positive psychology movement. They intentionally shift focus away from illness to scientifically map human resilience, internal motivation, and the long-term stabilization of happiness. They study a highly optimized biological engine. Despite the enduring myth that we have massive, untapped caverns of brain power, neuroimaging proves that humans utilize 100% of their brain capacity every single day. Every physical sector of the cerebral cortex maintains a dedicated sensory, motor, or cognitive function. When we stop relying on romanticized cultural folklore and start demanding reproducible evidence, we acquire the mathematically proven tools to optimize human life.